Hello and welcome to today's math lesson. So first of all guys, can we all turn to wave and say a big hello to our friends on camera? Hello. Hello. And we'll begin by doing our meditation sequence. So I will sit down, take 2 fingers, find our heart center, left hand on our laps and close our eyes. And when you're ready, guys, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. Excellent. And next we can do our stretch sequence. So let's stand up and push in our chairs. And we can begin by stretching up high to the sky. High as we can. And then let's go down low. Touch our toes. And then back up high one more time. And this time, can we go tippy toe high? And while we're there, let's have a wave side to side. And then back down to touch our toes once more. Stand up and have a shake, guys. Arms and legs, shake it out. Shake it out. And then we can do some rotations, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Excellent, guys. And now, let's take our right hand and find our left foot. Left hand, right foot. Right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. Right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. And let's do some stretches, guys. We can do 5 stretches to our right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. And then we can do 5 stretches to our left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent, guys. Now let's have a shake again. And to finish, we will do 5 claps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent, guys. Have a seat. So welcome to today's math class. Well, who can tell me what we learnt about or what we began learning about in the previous math class? Anybody? Area of rectangles. Yes, we learnt about the area of rectangles. So let's write that phrase on the board first. Area, A-R-E-A. And then of, O-F. Rectangles, R-E-C-T-A-N-G-L-E-S. Okay, so all together, guys, area of rectangles. Now remember, we previously learned about perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around a shape, but area is greater. Area refers to the total surface. Now, can anybody remember how do we calculate the area of a rectangle? Length, not plot. Length times width. It's always length times width. And then remember, whenever we have an answer, we always end it with the number 2, because this represents the area squared. And what I'm going to do now, as a recap to the previous lesson, I'm going to draw some rectangles on the board. And then I'm going to have my students come forward and demonstrate how to correctly calculate the area of each rectangle. So let's see, we need some rectangles on the board. Okay, so what's the length of this rectangle, guys?
10.
And what's the width of the rectangle? 4 centimeters. Okay, so now let's see who can come forward and do the area of the rectangle. So Chu, come and join me at the front of class. So Chu can demonstrate how to correctly calculate the area of this rectangle. So remember, Chu, we need to do the length times the width. So can you demonstrate how to calculate the area of the rectangle? 10 times 4. Equals, so what's 10 times 4, guys? 40 centimeters. So 10. And then we put the unit of measurement, so centimeters, cm, and we end the answer with the number 2, because the area represents centimeters squared. So let's finish with number 2 here, Stu. Excellent. So we can say 10 centimeters multiplied by 4 centimeters equals 40 centimeters squared. So well done, Chu. That's how we can correctly calculate the area of rectangles. But let's do some more examples on the board too, because rectangles can be different sizes. For example, we can have a rectangle like this. So what do we think the length of this rectangle could be, guys? Someone give me a length. 12 Really? The length of this one's 10. This one can't be 12. So this could be, let's say, 5 centimeters, because the length is shorter than this one. And then we could have 12 centimeters. So let's see now who can work out the total area of this rectangle. And now, Lackow, come and join me at the front of class. So this time, guys, we've got a length of 5 centimeters and a width 12 centimeters. So Lackow, can you demonstrate the area? 5 centimeters. So 5 times 12, 60 centimeters. And then the number 2 for 60 centimeters squared. So we can say, guys, 5 centimeters times 12 centimeters equals 60 centimeters squared. Yes, that's what the number 2 after centimeters means. And Lackow, that was brilliant. High five and a big round of applause for Lackow, please, guys. And let's do one more together before we move on to the next part of the lesson. So let's have one more rectangle, but this time we'll use a different unit of measurement. So this time we will use, let's say this is 4 foot. And then here we have 2 foot. So we're not dealing in centimeters anymore. Now we're dealing in foot. So let's see if Pat can come forward and demonstrate how to calculate the area of this rectangle here. It's the same calculation even though the units are different. All we need to do is we take the length and times it by the width. So what do we need to do? What's the calculation, guys? 4 times 2. Perfect. 4 times 2 equals... So 4 times 2, Pat? 8, okay. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Not centimeters this time. We've got foot, FT, and then squared. Yes. So we can say together, guys, 4 foot times 2 foot equals 8 foot squared. Because when we deal with the area of a shape, it's always squared. Pat, that was brilliant. High five and a big round of applause for Pat, please, guys. So that was a recap of the previous lesson where we learned how to calculate the area of rectangles. And we're going to do something similar today, but we're not going to be using rectangles. We're going to be using squares. So it's a slightly different calculation that we need to make. What we're going to do now is take a look at a PowerPoint presentation for our students to observe, listen to, and also practice speaking of how to calculate the area of squares. So let's turn to have a look at the TV screen, please, guys. So let's take a look at our PowerPoint presentation today. Area of rectangles, lesson 2. Yes. A square is a shape with 4 sides of equal length. So that's the main difference, guys, between squares and rectangles. A rectangle has 4 sides, but only opposite sides same length. The square has all sides of the same length. The area of a square is the amount of surface it covers. Same as a rectangle. The area is always the total surface of the shape. And as I said earlier, we always use the number 2 to represent the unit of measurement, because this means squared. Whenever the measurement involves area, it's always squared. We find the area by multiplying the base by the height of the sides. Yes. So whereas we used to do length times width for the rectangle, because they were different, with the square, base and height. And you'll notice the base and the height are the same. Here we have a base of 5 centimeters. And then the height is also 5 centimeters, because all sides of a square are the same. So 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters equals 25 centimeters. Well done. 5 times 5 is 25. So we say 25 centimeters. But is that correct? 25 centimeters? Or am I forgetting something? When we do area, what do we need after the end of the unit? 2 to measure squared. So we need to change it to. Therefore, the area of this square is 25 centimeters squared. Yes. Let's do another one together. For the area of a shape, we write centimeters squared to represent square centimeters. What is the area of this square? So now it's not 5 times 5, and it's not centimeters. 6 foot by 6 foot equals 36 foot. Excellent. 6 times 6 is 36. So 36 foot and then squared. Always, whatever the unit of measurement, whether it's centimeters, kilometers, foot, or inches, if we're measuring the area of something, it's always squared. The area of this square is 36 foot squared. And that's how we measure the area of squares. Any questions, guys? That was excellent. Well done. Welcome back to class. We hope your students enjoyed the PowerPoint presentation so that they can begin to understand how to calculate the area of squares. Similar to rectangles, but what's different is that squares have all sides of the same length. So when we're multiplying, it's always the same number, such as 5 by 5 or 6 by 6. And coming up, we've got a board exercise for our students to practice further. But before then, guys, time for our stretch sequence. So let's stand up and push in our chairs. And for this sequence, we'll have a game of Teacher Says. So listen carefully. If Teacher says, we can do. If Teacher doesn't say, don't do. So Teacher says, arms in the air. Arms down. Teacher says, arms down. Teacher says, spin around. Teacher says, spin the other way. And back the other way. Excellent, guys. Jogging on the spot. Teacher says, jogging on the spot. Teacher says, arms in the air. Teacher says, arms side to side. Teacher says, forwards and backwards. And stop. Teacher says, stop. Teacher says, stand on one leg. Teacher says, touch your nose. Teacher says, pat your head. Teacher says, swap legs. Teacher says, swap arms. Teacher says, stand up straight. Teacher says, arms by your sides. Into a ball. Very good, guys. Everyone listening well. Teacher says, into a ball. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Teacher says, jump. Excellent, guys. And teacher says, please sit down. And teacher says, it's now time for a board activity for our students to practice calculating the area of squares. So let's write that title on the board first. Area, A-R-E-A, of, O-F, and squares, Q-U-A-R-E-S. So remember, with the area, guys, we're always multiplying. With squares, all the sides are the same length. So we'll demonstrate how to calculate the area of some squares now. And first of all, I will draw a square on the board. Okay, so somebody give me a unit of measurement for our square. 4 foot. Okay, we can use 4 foot. So if this side is 4 foot, what does this side have to be? 4 foot. Every side has to be the same length. That's what makes a square. If they're not the same length, they're not really a square. They're a rectangle. So let's see who can come forward and demonstrate how to work out the area of this square. Pangpon, come and join me at the front of class, please. So Pangpon, if you can stand here, and using what we've learned in the previous lesson and this one, how can we calculate the area of the square? What's the calculation we need to do? 4 foot times 4 foot. So 4 times 4 equals 16. And then we use our unit of measurement, which is foot. So 16 foot. And 2 at the end to make it squared. Perfect. So we can say together, guys, 4 foot times 4 foot equals 16 foot squared. Pangpon, that was brilliant. High five and a big round of applause for Pangpon, please, guys. So teachers, you can see the activity that we're doing in our classroom now. You can pause the video and do the same activity with your own students for the next 10 to 12 minutes. And remember to choose a different student each time, but then to have the entire class practice speaking at the end. And we're going to carry on playing here now. But first of all, we need a new square. So let's have a square over this side now. And this time we'll use a different area of measurement. We will say the sides of our square now are 8 millimeters. So let's see who can work out the area of this square. Prel, come and join me at the front of class, please. Okay, so we've got a square with sides of 8 millimeters on every side. Can you demonstrate, Prel, how can we get the area of this square? It will be 8 millimeters times 8 millimeters. Because the sides of the square are the same, it's always the same number. So 8 times 8, guys. 64. 8 times 8 is 64. Then we use the unit of measurement, millimeters, and number 2 at the end to say squared. Proud? That was brilliant. 8 millimeters times 8 millimeters equals 64 millimeters squared. Brilliant, Prow. High five and a big round of applause for Prow, please, guys. Let's carry on, but let's use some different size squares. So we've had foot, we've had millimeters. Let's use a different measurement. And this time we'll use a larger square. This time, we're using kilometers. How many kilometers?
7 kilometers.
Each side is 7 kilometers, which in real life is a very long distance, but we're only using it to demonstrate. And now I would like Net to come forward and demonstrate how to work out the area of this square. Net, can you work out the area of this square? 7 times 7. Correct. Yes, you see, always times. So 7 times 7 equals 49 kilometers. And then what comes at the end of kilometers for the area? The number 2 to make it squared. Brilliant, Net. So we can say together 7 times 7 equals 49 kilometers squared. Net, that was brilliant. High five and a big round of applause for Net, please, guys. And let's do one more together before we move on to the worksheet activity. This time we'll have a smaller square. And this time we will use inches. So now it's 7 inches by 7 inches, but always the same calculation. And Dan, can you come forward and demonstrate how to work out the area of this square? So always using the same calculation. This time it's 7 inches times 7 inches. So Dan, can you show? Seven inches times 7 inches. So 7 times 7, guys, what do we think?
7 times 7 equals 49.
49 inches squared. And number 2 at the end to demonstrate squared. You see, every time we've just took the same number and multiplied it by itself to get the answer. For example, we had 7 kilometers. Now we're using 7 inches. So we can say 7 inches times 7 inches equals 49 inches squared. Down, that was brilliant. High five and a big round of applause for Down, please, guys. And now it's time for our worksheet part of the lesson. So teachers, make sure every student in your class gets their own worksheet. And similar to the last lesson, when we had to work out the area of rectangles, this time we want our students to work out the area of the squares. So remember, guys, always take the unit of measurement, for example 4 foot, and then simply times it by itself. And then by using the unit of measurement squared, you can give your answer for the area. But what's the first thing we need to do? Write your names on top. And give our students around 12 minutes for this activity and help them with anything they need. So Net, this one's for you. You're welcome. Nadia, for you. You're welcome. Chu, for you. You're welcome. Down, for you. You're welcome. Cleo, for you. You're welcome. Lakau, for you. And Bangpon. You're welcome. So names on top first, guys, and then look at the different sizes and the different units of measurement for the squares. So we've got 8 meters. M for meters. So 8 times 8.
8 meters
8 meters times 8 meters.
equals 64.
64 meters squared. Remember the number 2 after the unit will give you your answer squared. And if you need any help, guys, let me know. But like I've said earlier, with squares, it's always the same number, because the length and the width and the height are always the same.
This is 9 or 5?
9 millimeters. Excellent, guys. Great to see you're working out. By now you know how to calculate. Always multiply or times. Excellent prayer, well done. Excellent time. Welcome back to class. We hope your students enjoyed the worksheet activity where they had to demonstrate their understanding of calculating the area of squares. My students here all did a brilliant job, so very well done, guys. And that's all we've got time for today, so we hope you've enjoyed the lesson and found it interesting, and in future you know how to calculate the area of squares. Just simply take the unit of measurement and times it, and then using the number 2 to represent the answer squared. And we'll see you again soon for the next lesson. So can we turn to wave and say goodbye, guys? Goodbye. Bye-bye. See you again soon.